The million-mile diesel myth needs to die. For decades, diesel was the smart buyer's choice. You spent more at the dealership, but you walked away with an engine that would outlast the body rusting around it. That deal no longer exists. If you're writing a check for a modern diesel pickup today, you're not making an investment. You're purchasing a compliance penalty that'll send you a five-figure invoice the second your warranty card expires. You're handing over an extra $10,000 for an engine that federal law has engineered to wear itself out. You're buying a work truck that chokes on its own idle. You're buying a tow rig that throws up its hands and limps home because a $20 temperature sensor got tired. And the most infuriating part? Nobody made a mistake. This is working exactly as designed. To really understand what's happening to diesel owners' wallets, you need to look at what you're actually paying for. That $90,000 Super Duty or Silverado HD sitting in the lot. Roughly $8,000 of that sticker price has nothing to do with moving you or your trailer down the road. That money pays for an emissions control system that federal regulators require the manufacturer to bolt onto every truck they sell. You're essentially financing a miniature chemical processing facility mounted under your cab. When Tier 4 final regulations rolled in, truck makers had no escape route. Either they strapped a pollution control apparatus to every chassis, or they stopped selling diesel trucks in America. So they strapped. And unlike the engine block underneath, which, yes, actually could rack up serious mileage under the right conditions, this apparatus is built from ceramics, plastics, and sensors. It is not built to be immortal. One failed sensor worth $40 can command your truck to stop cooperating entirely. Your engine spins perfectly. Your transmission shifts clean. But the ECU reads one bad signal and decides you don't get to use your own vehicle today. That's the limp mode trap, and it's not a glitch, it's the system behaving exactly as programmed. The cascade of failures starts with exhaust gas recirculation, EGR. Regulators needed combustion temps lowered to cut nitrogen oxide emissions, so they required engines to suck their own exhaust back through the intake. Your engine is literally being forced to breathe what it already burned. Picture a competitive cyclist being made to blow cigarette smoke into his own oxygen mask mid-race. That's your diesel on EGR. That recirculated exhaust carries soot, and that soot meets oil mist coming from the crankcase ventilation system. Together they cook into a black, tar-like paste that coats everything it touches. Your intake runners fill up with it. Your map sensors get smothered. Your engine slowly runs out of air. But that's just the opening act. The diesel particulate filter, the DPF, is where things get really expensive. This ceramic canister catches the soot your engine produces and holds it. Eventually it gets full, just like any filter would. The truck's solution is something called regeneration. It injects raw diesel into the exhaust stream to superheat the soot and burn it to ash. Clever in theory, brutal in practice. Because to regenerate, you need sustained highway speeds and high exhaust temperatures. Now ask yourself what work trucks actually spend most of their time doing. Sitting at idle on a construction site. Making short loops between the job and the supply yard. Low speeds, low temps, incomplete burns. The filter never cleans itself properly. Pressure builds at the turbo. Eventually, that turbo doesn't survive. When the DPF finally gives up, you're not looking at an oil change. You're looking at a $4,000 repair minimum. And there's a bonus problem nobody mentions in the brochure. During regeneration, some of that injected fuel slides past the piston rings and into your oil. Your oil loses viscosity. It stops protecting your bearings the way it should. The system designed to clean your exhaust is quietly destroying your bottom end at the same time. Then there's diesel exhaust fluid DEF. It's a urea-based solution sprayed into the exhaust to neutralize nitrogen oxides. Simple concept. Nightmare execution. DEF spoils in heat. It turns to slush in a hard freeze. Because it freezes, the tank needs a built-in heating system to keep it liquid. Those heaters fail regularly. When DF dries out in the injector nozzle, it crystallizes into a white crust. The injector clogs. And then, even with a full fuel tank and a healthy engine, your truck won't start. You're sitting in a parking lot, late for a job, because a heater coil in a blue juice tank decided today was the day. Here's where it shifts from frustrating to genuinely dangerous for your finances. This is the Bosch CP4 high-pressure fuel pump. If you own a recent Ford Power Stroke or a GM Duramax, there's a good chance this pump lives in your fuel system. It was engineered around European diesel standards, fuel that carries significantly more lubrication than what flows out of American pumps. When this pump begins to fail on domestic fuel, it doesn't quietly stop working. The internal components grind themselves into microscopic metal fragments. Technicians started calling it glitter, but there's nothing festive about it. Those particles travel through your entire high-pressure fuel circuit, rails, injectors, and back to the tank. You can't just swap the pump. The contamination means you're replacing everything: tank, lines, rails, injectors. The bill lands north of $10,000. And your warranty claim will likely be denied on the grounds that American fuel quality doesn't meet the pump specifications. The pump that was installed at the factory. In the truck you bought new. Now, before you head to the comments to mention deleting the emissions system and flashing a tune, understand that the window on that workaround has largely closed. The EPA's enforcement actions against tuning shops have resulted in penalties running into the millions. The hardware has dried up. But the real trap is resale. A deleted truck is essentially unsellable through any legitimate channel in most states. Dealerships won't accept it on trade. They can't legally put it on their lot. You've built yourself a truck you can't sell, can't trade, and can't take to a franchise dealer for service. The delete exit ramp is gone. And manufacturers have responded to this new reality by making their systems even harder to work around. Newer trucks combine the DPF, the selective catalytic reduction system, and the associated sensors into a single sealed assembly called a one-box. When a $50 sensor inside that sealed unit fails, the manufacturer's answer is simple: the entire assembly is non-serviceable. No sensor replacement. No patch. You buy the whole box. Current quotes for that part alone are running around $8,000. For a small contractor or independent operator, that's not an inconvenience. That's a business-ending event. So where does that leave you if you actually need a truck that works for a living? If you're buying a diesel for image or light-duty use, the math is straightforward. You're acquiring a depreciating liability with a ticking clock attached to it. But if you genuinely need to pull serious weight, you have two realistic paths. Modern gas engines have closed the gap more than most people want to admit. The 7.3-liter Godzilla Ford offers real-world tow ratings pushing 15,000 pounds. The fuel economy won't impress anyone. Expect somewhere around 8 miles per gallon under load, but gas costs less per gallon than diesel. You'll never touch DF, and you won't be staring down an $8,000 parts invoice for a sealed emissions box. Think of the gas engine's fuel bill as a predictable monthly operating cost. Think of the modern diesel's emissions system as a financial grenade with an unpredictable pin. If diesel torque is non-negotiable for your operation, your best option might be looking backward. Pre-2007 trucks, the 5.9 Cummins, the LBZ Duramax, carry a premium on the used market right now, and they carry it for good reason. They don't have the self-destruct sequence built in. They hold value precisely because the people who buy them aren't afraid of what happens when the warranty clock runs out. The golden age of the diesel daily driver is over. The engine that was supposed to outlast everything else is now at war with its own exhaust system and losing. Buy the iron. Skip the chemistry set. Your bank account will thank you.